Welcome to the Planning and Regulatory Services Committee meeting, 3rd of June 2021. And welcome to the councillors, staff and members of the public that are viewing this recording and live stream. Call for apologies. Do we have any apologies for the meeting? Was that an apology? Just to clarify, was that an apology from Councillor Cogan for lateness?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so Councillor Cogan, but so the team do. So just need to know that.
Sorry, no, I got it wrong. It's for the community development committee. Sorry.
That's all good.
One error.
No worries, thank you. We're just no apologies. Moving through, the interest register circulated physically on the table as well as on Microsoft Teams. If you've got any amendments, please update that. And please declare your conflicts at the agenda, the point in the agenda. Are there any urgent items not on the agenda today that need consideration in the committee? Being done, we'll move through to the minutes of the previous meeting. They've been taken as read, they've been circulated, and they have come back with no errors of fact or corrections. Ask that someone please move that the minutes of the Planning and Regulatory Services Committee meeting held on the 15th of March 2021 be confirmed as a true and correct record of the meeting. I moved Councillor Kennedy. Seconded Councillor Davidson. All those in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. I approve that my digital signature be added to the confirmed Planning and Regulatory Services Committee meetings minutes of the 15th of March 2021. Having dealt with all the administravia, now move through to the action list, which is page 5 of the agenda, and welcome the Planning Manager Fiona Scadden to speak to the report. Fiona.
Thank you. So there are 3 matters within the action list, all of which are now covered in standard items of standing items report, which is coming up. So the Town Centre draft plan, there will be an update in that report, along with the dedicated pedestrian crossings, which also sits under that draft plan, and mining consent application process. The process is laid out also in that report.
Thank you. Thanks for capturing those as standing items as part of your update. I think if the committee have any questions or discussion, we can deal with them as part of that report. People are happy. Councillor Kennedy.
I would just like an item added to the action list if it's possible.
Yeah, what did it relate to, Councillor?
The Franz Josef Master Planning.
Oh, yeah. Could that sit, just to clarify, could that sit as part of as a standing item?
Well, hopefully it will be an action list that gets ticked off at some point soon.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
Definitely captured. Thank you, Councillor. Any other discussion on the action list? There being none, I ask that someone move that the updated action list from the Planning Manager be received. His Worship the Mayor, seconded Councillor Davidson. All those in favour?
Aye.
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 Those against? That's carried. Thank you very much, Fiona. There are no presentations to the meeting. So we move through to the staff reports, which are the current projects. Update report is on the agenda report, and that's on pages 6 through 7 of your agenda. Welcome, Fiona, and speak to the report.
Thank you. So I will take the report as read, but I will talk through the topics as we go. If it works in a better format, we can talk about each topic as we move through. So the town centre plan, so the work on the town centre plan is currently ongoing. We're getting some concept designs drawn up so that we can form a discussion document, which continues to be drafted. That discussion document ensuring we'll go out for consultation. There's a specific consultation item that will come back to council before it progresses through to consultation. Any questions on that?
There don't appear to be.
So the Rebel Street trial is the next update. So stage one of the Rebel Street trial has been underway since Feb's weekend. We've now received some public feedback. We've obviously had the formal emails as well as a bit of Facebook commentary, which we've also taken on board. So there will be a council workshop after this to discuss next stage or next steps for stage two.
I think we're all looking forward to that discussion. Fiona? Yep.
Here's one.
Oh, Councillor Kennedy.
Just one question, Fiona, as a matter of public interest. How much money has been spent on the Rebel Street trial to date?
That is covered in the workshop. We haven't reached the agreed budget yet, if that's what your concern is.
Oh, no, I'm just wondering how much you've spent on it as of right now.
So I can give a loose, I haven't double checked this right today, but we are looking at 48,000.
Sorry?
48,000, which includes all of the road safety works that needed to be undertaken as well.
Right. Okay. I just think if it's a trial, is there any budget for removing it if it's an unsuccessful trial?
So we still have budget within the town centre upgrades.
But wasn't that only $50,000 and you're saying you've already spent 48?
No, the actual town centre budget is 100,000. We committed to trying to keep it under the 50,000. So the actual removal would be far less labour than putting it in the first place.
Yeah, right. I suppose that it's a bit difficult when we didn't have a budget at the start with, and the papers, as Councillor Martin said, you know, would read council spends $50,000 on the trial, but it's going to end up being more than that. It's a bit concerning. Anyway, we'll cover that in the workshop.
So the dedicated pedestrian crossing, so this was put in as a general action, so we've obviously looking at some pedestrian crossing type area, and I'll just to clarify, not formal pedestrian crossing, but an area for pedestrians to cross at Rebel Street between Well Lane and Bookshop. And we've also, for the town centre, under the town centre plan, we'll be attached looking at Well Street on the 2 blocks leading up to Rebel Street. And that, as I said, will be drafted into a discussion document and go out to public consultation. Interpretation panels for the town centre. So this is a West Coast Heritage project. I haven't had an update from them on where that's at. Spoken to the racecourse and Cass Square, so that's currently up on the LTP. Once that feedback has been collated, then we can start looking at putting together a concept that can go out for proper full consultation regarding the specific designs that we might be looking at, or the specific activities that we might be looking at based on the feedback. So an update on the consent applications and consents granted. So we've had 22 consents since our last committee meeting. 21 have been granted during that time. 8 resource consents for subdivisions. And all of them in 20 working day time frame. The mining consent applications, just regarding process around legal roads. So there's 2 layers for ensuring that Destination Westland are going to be notified of any activities on road reserve. The first step is that I receive a report from West Coast Regional Council weekly that shows what consents have come into them, so I can see what applications we believe might be affect us as a party, and then we can get involved that way. And with that, there would be, I would be in contact with Destination Westland in terms of getting their involvement. And the second step is if we are considered to be an affected party for an application, then we would make sure that Destination Westland are involved at that point as well. So those applications would be forwarded on to them. In terms of other projects, the National Policy Statement for Indigenous Biodiversity is getting closer. We have been asked, and I have accepted, to represent the West Coast in a cross-sector working group that's going to be undertaken, basically running a process through the exposure draft to see what the consequences are going to be for us, and hopefully have a voice and what that means for our community.
Thank you, Fiona. We'll open the report up for discussion and any questions. Paul. All good? Councillor Hartshorn. All good. Councillor Kennedy. Councillor Davidson.
Yeah, just one question, Fiona. The concept plans on the racecourse, who would be engaged to do those?
We have to look at the public feedback, but I haven't looked into that yet. Hopefully somebody local.
Okay, then.
Maybe intention, but it potentially would depend on costs and timeframes.
Yeah, like it's my question, I suppose, is it going to be in-house or would it be outside?
Not when we get to actual concept stage. It would have to be contracting somebody who can do the imaging that we require.
Okay. That's a concept plan you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, through the chair, just to confirm, we have the budget within the LTP. Once the LTP is confirmed, there's funding to get that costed and drafted.
Sure. Thanks, Simon.
In relation to the mining consents, do we have any idea of active consents involving Unformed Legal Road at the moment?
We don't hold that information.
How would we obtain that information?
Regional Council would have to ask you to quantify that.
So it might be worth doing, because surprised to think we'd have to go there to get it and it not be held by Destination Westland.
Oh, yeah, sorry, in terms of their licenses to occupy and what they've seen, yes, they will hold it, but we don't hold it being held because they're not our consents anymore. So we would go through the effective party approval process for any consents that have been passed on to us.
Yep.
But if they haven't been passed on to us, then we won't have a full picture of it.
And that, okay, you've kind of clarified for me a point, and that's if for some reason, because this process hasn't been clarified in the past, is there a risk that consents have been issued without us being notified as an affected party? And if so, have we got a mechanism to capture those?
Yes, so that I believe that may have happened in the past. The mechanism would be to ask Regional Council to trawl back through those that affect road reserve. If we're talking about future state, the fact that I'm getting a report with a full summary of consents accepted into the Regional Council means that I have the ability to then look through and see what's in Westland, and then what's an activity that could potentially affect road reserve, and then request that we see the application.
Okay, this might seem pedantic, but is it not the Regional Council's duty, rather than it being your duty, to notify us as an affected party, because the mining activities intended to be undertaken on our land? Why are you doing all the work?
Because some have slipped through the cracks in the past. As a safeguard, I have been checking.
So we're, through the chair, so we're taking, I suppose, doing the double check just to ensure that we are covering all of those consents that come across both our desk and Regional Council's desk.
There has been a conversation prior to Peter Mackay leaving her role to point out a few of the consents that had fallen through the cracks, and there had been quite a change with the amount of communication coming through from the Regional Council from that point. So, as yet, I haven't come across any since having that conversation that should have come to us at the end. But just as standard practice, I am just going over them in the summary answer.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Isn't the responsibility with Destination Westland to report to us their list of active agreements and whether anyone's mining, someone's mining on it or not? Like, the process of issuing the consent is one thing, but the reality of working comes down to a work plan, and it comes down to the access agreement that Destination Westland sign and giving people access in exchange for 8%. Don't we need to have something from Destination Westland saying, look, these are the active agreements we've got. Someone's mining or they're not.
Yeah.
So I suspect that if they weren't on the agreement, we would, or if they said they weren't mining and they were, I suspect one of us would know around the table.
Yep. So, and as part of the standing agenda item, can we please have a table added that lists all of our active consents in relation to Unformed Legal Road and the status of them? So if we've got 10 of them, I don't know, if we've got 10 and 5 of them are active because they're being mined, and there's an access agreement in place or royalty, in lieu of royalties, document signed, because it's still a bit murky and it's not clear.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think the responsibility is Destination Westland's.
Yep. To provide it to us.
Report to Fiona each month with a sheet saying we've got 9 agreements and none of them are being mined.
Yep.
And that will allow Fiona to double check, allow councillors to be happy that it's doing what it's doing, doing what it's meant to do. Is that
the intent here is to ensure that any mining activities undertaken on road reserve return royalty payment at level of using that land. And that's kind of the policy direction that council set, and it's just sort of a bit messy. So if we could get an update from DW, that would be awesome.
Just through the chair, so we're passing responsibility for managing Unformed Legal Roads through to Destination Westland. So we have a subsidiary there that reports to Holdings. I think the best avenue is that we request Holdings to provide updates from their report back to council in terms of how it's been managed and the revenue gain from those activities. By having the planning manager talk directly to the CEO of Destination Westland, to sort of jumping through what is another layer of governance. What I suggest we do is, in terms of statement of intent or the letter of expectation, have something within that document that requests that council be updated at every quarterly report from Destination Westland Holdings.
It might just displace the reporting line, that's all. Like in terms of this planning committee or planning and regulatory committee, it's I guess we're not asking it as from a monitoring of Destination Westland through Westland Holdings perspective. The interest is from a planning perspective, have we captured the planning considerations?
We don't look after that activity for council. It's within Destination Westland's mandate to lead that process.
Through the chair, can I just clarify that from a planning perspective, the part that we do play is that if there is any activity happening on road reserve, then we should be considered an affected party due to infrastructure considerations. So we would capture it in terms of as an affected party to consider whether it should be, whether it's.
Through the chair, we don't I suppose follow the revenue stream to make sure that it's coming through. That's within Destination.
Oh yeah. We don't want to see the dollars and cents. I don't think this committee wants that information. We want to know that the directive of ensuring that if someone applies for a mining licence, consent, that we are notified, Destination Westland are notified, and a process is in place to ensure that they talk to licence or consent holder and advance an agreement that sees an exchange of funds in order to undertake the activity. That's the policy direction, and that's been kind of on the table for 7 years, and it's like, we're still not really sure if it's actually happening.
So,
So we'll get an update. Well, it sounds like we're going to get an update.
Yeah.
So we need to know.
Through the chair, look, it'd be really good to get an understanding of what type of condition or agreement they have as well, because I understand some of them are 8%, some of them are just one large sum of money. So that'd be really good to understand, you know, what agreements they do have.
once again, through the chair, that's not our responsibility, that's Destination Western's responsibility.
Yeah, I understand that, but it'd be, I think it's good for councillors to know what's happening.
You might be able to pick this up again, just so we're clear.
I think just to finalise, just to probably come up with, I think there's two ways we can approach this going forward. One is obviously in terms of the report you're requesting from the planning, but also we can request that Western Holdings Limited to provide that information in terms of, you know, they are charged with managing our road reserves for legal roads. So we should see how they're performing in that space is a better way to do it. That covers a lot of things, including leases for grazing and a few other activities. So it'd be good to get an overarching view of all of that performance.
Through Mr. Chair, the contract is with Destination Western.
Yes.
So it's a direct contract between council and Destination Western, and there's no question some of these are falling through the cracks, and there's quite big dollars involved, or there could be. So
I think it's around ensuring the performance is at the right level of that contract, right? So that they optimise the revenue for council.
So I would have thought that would have been C to CE, as opposed to Western. I don't see where Western Holding sits in it.
I'm just looking as a governance group of Destination Western. So, but I'll talk to the relevancy within Destination Western and find a way forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the report. Thanks, Fiona. We've got lots to workshop this afternoon, so appreciate that update. Someone please move that the current projects update report from the planning manager be received. Councillor Davidson, seconded. Councillor Kennedy, all those in favour?
Aye.
Now move and hope someone prepared to second that we move into public excluded to consider the confidential minutes of the meeting. Seconded, sorry, Councillor Kennedy, all those in favour?
Aye.
Thank you to the members of the public that have participated by viewing this meeting. Now,